So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to another hour here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, iTunes, iHeart, Simul Radio, and Simul TV. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out about the broadcast schedule we have for you to listen to the X Zone Broadcast Network, 24/7, 365, visit www.xzbn.net. And for the broadcast schedule for the X Zone TV channel, which is channel 21 on Simul TV, visit simultv.com. X Zone Nation, my guest this hour is David Halperin, and we're going to be talking to David about his new book entitled Journal of a UFO Investigator. Now, back in the 1960s, David was a teenage UFO investigator. Later, he became a professor of religious studies, his specialty, religious traditions of heavenly ascent. From 1976 through 2000, David taught Jewish history in the religious studies department at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Now retired from teaching, he lives in North Carolina with his wife, Rose. Journal of a UFO Investigator is his first novel. For a more academically orientated bio reflecting David's work as a scholar, visit his webpage, and you can also follow David on Facebook, Twitter, or see his profile on LinkedIn. His website is davidhalperin.net. And David, welcome to the X Zone.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Rob.
Great having you with us, David. I love the state of North Carolina. It is a beautiful state. We go through it every time we go down to our house in Florida from Ontario.
Well, we've lived here for 40-some years, and we just love it.
It is a beautiful state. David, how did you get involved in ufology?
Oh, boy, it goes back to when I was 12, going on 13. And there was a science class at junior high school, and a friend of mine and I decided we were going to do an extra credit paper for the science class. And I think we were going to write it on life on other planets, but we thought we'd write a chapter on flying saucers. So we went off to our local public library and found out they had 3 books about flying saucers. One of them was gray barkers. They knew too much about flying saucers. And I took it out, and I went home and started reading it. And pretty soon I wanted to hide under the bed.
So tell me, David, have you ever seen a UFO?
No, never.
Never, eh?
Never. I have imagined seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
And several years ago, my wife Rose and I were out for a walk, and we were passing an illuminated tower known fondly as the Pickle Building to Durhamites, and we saw very peculiar lights circling overhead, and I just didn't know what they were. Fortunately, Rose did. They were birds reflecting the lights off that tower. And this is one of the many lessons I've absorbed, is how when you lose your perspective a bit, ordinary things can seem positively eerie.
That's true. That's true. So what was it that, prompted you to write your book, Journal of a UFO Investigator?
Because for the past maybe 20 years, I've been looking back on my teenage ufology, which I got into through Gray Barker's book, but
Right.
I stayed in even when I stopped taking that book all that seriously, and asked myself, what does it mean to me? What did it mean to me? Why did I find myself, when I became a scholar of Judaica, why did I find myself gravitating to UFO-related topics, like religious traditions of heavenly ascent and other worldly journeys? And I thought the best way to do this would be to tell a story, and to tell it as a story within a story. A story about a boy like me who becomes devoted to ufology, absolutely convinced the UFOs are real, and that untangling their mystery is the most important task a human being can undertake. And within that story, to tell a story that plays itself out inside the boy, in which he himself enters the UFO world as it existed in the 1960s.
So is Journal of a UFO Investigator an autobiography?
Well, that question is asked fairly often when I speak about it, and I have a canned answer, which is that the car chases, the intergalactic sex, and the descent into the netherworld are all autobiographical. Other parts, however, I made up.
As a teacher of religious studies, does ufology have any basis in religious studies, in Judaic studies?
Well, I think it's certainly a topic for religious studies, because I would not call ufology a religion. It doesn't have a religion, a religious structure. But I think that a UFO encounter is a religious experience, that the lore of UFOs is a religious myth, and I do not use the word myth to mean falsehood. I use it to mean a kind of collective dream of the human species that comes from inside us and tells us things we otherwise wouldn't know.
Well, if it was a collective dream, wouldn't everybody believe in UFOs and not just a percentage of the population?
I think huge numbers of people feel the tug of the UFO. One folklorist who studied UFOs, Eddie Bullard, has posed what I think is the essential question. Why are UFOs at the same time so popular and so despised? And I think that they resonate to huge numbers of people, including those who reject them with some violence.
Oh, wait a sec. Who rejects UFOs with violence? I've never heard that said before.
Oh, let's take Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't see any violence there.
I see it. Watch him twitch, gesticulate,
All right, so he
roar with
does
anger.
All right, so he roars with anger. He doesn't take he's not violence toward anybody.
Okay, that's true. He does It's not violence in that sense, but
right.
Violence in the sense that it is something powerful, passionate, and I think at bottom irrational.
Well, don't forget, this is entertainment as well. If he doesn't get these little glitches out there, his ratings fall, and ratings equal money. Money equals advertisers. He's an actor as well as a scientist.
Well, you watch the YouTube also, and see if you don't feel that there is a real irritation in his reaction.
Well,
that there's something about the UFOs that have gotten under his skin.
Well, you know what? I can understand it. I've been doing this show now for 29 years. And over the years, I've had well over 5,000 different guests. I do my show 5 nights a week, 4 hours a night. And nothing has changed when it comes to ufology. There's no proof whatsoever that they do exist. And ufology goes against all the, everything that science stands for.
How so?
Well, you can't prove they exist. So how can you say something exists if you can't prove their existence?
Well, how could you say that giant squids existed?
Well,
for a long time, all we had was anecdotal evidence.
That's right. And even though here we are in the year 2018, people still believe in Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, unicorns, and the list goes on and on and on. So please stand by. We've got to take our first commercial break. X-Zone Nation, our guest this hour is David Halperin. His website is davidhalperin.net, and we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light. Nation, David Halperin is our guest this hour, www.davidhalperin.net. He is the author of Journal of a UFO Investigator. And just getting back to what we were talking about before we went on the break. Here, technology has increased. Technology has advanced since I've been doing this show. And yet, nothing is different, whether it's Bigfoot, whether it's ghosts, whether it's UFOs, whether it's alien abductions. There is nothing new to substantiate the belief that there is really something out there, because if there was something out there, I mean, besides the conspiracy theories that are out there, but if there was anything factual out there, it would have been discovered by now, especially with the great technology we have here on this planet, as well as scanning the space skies.
So then we have to ask the question,
sure,
why is that belief so powerful?
Because I believe that people are using ufology and the paranormal as an escape from reality. We live in a very high-tech world, a very fast-paced world. We're inundated with data left, right, and center. People are looking for an excuse. Ufology is a modern version of Monday night football quarterbacking, because you've already seen the game, you can call the plays, and you're sitting in your armchair, just playing football in your mind.
I might believe that, Rob, if I hadn't been inside ufology as a teenager.
All right, so
I would now agree with your premise that there is no machinery flying around the skies. But when I was a teenager, I did not, and I've had to look at myself. Why was I so captivated by the UFO myth?
As a child, as a teenager, I was captivated by music. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Dave Clark Five, Mamas and the Papas. I was captivated by them. And I played guitar, and I played professionally for a number of years before I went into the police force. So, I can understand that. I have friends who are interested in science. I have friends who are interested in medicine. I have friends who are interested in astronomy. I have friends who are interested in other things. So I can understand that ufology certainly does have a lure, the what if. What if we're not alone? What if there is life out there that we haven't discovered? What if something really did crash at Roswell and their 3 little aliens were taken from Roswell, New Mexico, and hidden into the bunkers of Area 51? It's very captivating. I agree.
But I think there's more to it than that, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because when I look back at myself, this is, when you asked about the autobiographical element, I responded facetiously at first. But there is a strong autobiographical strain in my novel, and that is that I was growing up with a dying mother.
Okay.
All right, my mother had a heart condition. Day to day, you would not have noticed that she was worsening. Year by year, she was, and eventually she did die.
Okay.
My UFOs were a way of facing the alien that had penetrated our household, the ultimate alien, which is death.
But as a teacher of Jewish history in the religious studies department, wouldn't your religion have given you the faith instead of going to ufology? I don't understand that. Why not?
No, because it did not speak to me. It did not speak the truth the way the ufologists did. Have you read Gray Barker's They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers?
No, I didn't.
It is, you have a rare treat ahead of you. It is a very remarkable book about the three men in black who silence those who've discovered the awful truth about the UFOs. I believed in UFOs because I believed in the three men in black. And I believed in the three men in black because I knew them from personal experience. We could not talk about my mother's condition.
Well, what does your mother's condition have to do with UFOs? I'm sorry, I cannot understand the connection.
The connection is something alien that has penetrated the familiar space and that no one will talk about.
What, I'm sorry, I am totally lost on this connection. Here you've got your mother, God rest her soul, who had a heart condition.
Yes.
How do you equate that to an alien invasion of your mother? How do you do that?
What is more alien than death, Rob? It's something that grows up within us. It's part of us from the day of our birth, and yet it's the utter and absolute alien, that which makes us utterly different from what we were. Most people think it's what makes us nothing at all, which is an impossible idea to grasp. I faced that day after day, and I could not have survived that without having a mirror in which to view it. You know the myth of Perseus and Medusa?
Yeah.
Like all myths, it is absolutely true.
Well, how can you say a myth is true? The very word myth, is totally is anything but the existence of truth in a fable, a story, a legend.
But that, I consider that a misuse. I think myth is the most profound truth of all. Perseus is able to deal with Medusa only when he can look at her in a mirror. Similarly, I could deal with my mother's death, impending death, only when I looked at her, looked at that event through a distorting mirror of ufology.
So you used ufology as your what's the word I'm looking for here? Your coping mechanism of the grief that you were going through.
Yes, as a way to understand it, a way to validate it.
Well, I don't.
No one in my
I don't know if I could understand and agree with you that it's a way of validating, a way of coping, definitely, but I still can't understand the connection. One is a mortality. The moment we are conceived is the moment we begin to die.
Absolutely.
All right. So where do you get the alien inference or the UFO inference in this? I'm sorry, sir. I cannot follow it.
What happened? What do you become when you die?
A cadaver.
But what does the you that animates the meat become?
I have no idea. That, sir, is the greatest mystery of all.
And why is it a mystery? You see where I'm leading you?
No.
I am leading you, I am hoping you will say, it is a mystery because it is so utterly alien to anything we can conceive that we cannot grasp it. And that is the nexus.
Well, you see, I'm a Christian. I'm a steadfast Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe that when I die, I'm going to go to heaven because each and every moment of my life, I try to be the very best person I can be. I did that as a youth. I did that while I was in the police force. And I do that as a journalist and a broadcaster. When my grandmother was dying of cancer and she was at home, we found comfort in our belief based on the religion that we believe in, that Nanny was going to be up in heaven with Grandpa, and that when it was our turn to go, we would be up there with her and the rest of our family. Whether or not that happens, that's the great mystery. However, when people start injecting aliens, UFOs into this is where I have a real hard time trying to comprehend what the heck is going on.
Okay, consider that others may not draw the comfort that you did from your religion. I did not from mine. I had to look in another direction.
But why aliens? Why not something tangible, something that you could touch, something that you can hold, something that you know is real?
Because to me, the alien was the representation of what had invaded our familiar lives.
So let me put it to you this way, as I see it. We have to take a commercial break. But what you're doing is you're taking death, the devil, and instead of using those two, you're using the aliens.
Okay.
Stand by. We've got to take our break. We'll be right back. X-Zone Nation, David Halperin is our special guest. www.davidhalperin.net. He's the author of Journal of a UFO Investigator. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Exonation, David Halperin is our special guest. He is the author of Journal of a UFO Investigator, and his website is davidhalperin.net. All right, David, I'm trying very hard to make a connection as far as the representation of the extraterrestrial or the UFO in the death of your mom. And I'm telling you, I find it very challenging to try and make that connection.
And yet I know from my experience that it was there.
Oh, that's your
experience.
So
we have to try to understand it.
Why do we have to try and understand it? That was your experience.
Okay. I am working on the premise that being a human being, my experience has the potential of shedding light on others. This is a major move, and perhaps you can say leap. That if I want to know what UFOs mean to the culture, why this despised phenomenon has its enduring power of enchantment, my starting point needs to be the place where I have the most reliable data, and that is inside my own mind. And then to move from there to test out my insights derived from myself, to see if they will help us understand the outside.
Okay. That is...
This is what
That is your way of looking at it.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I've been doing this show for 29 going on 30 years, and I have never, ever, ever heard anybody equate someone who has died of a heart problem, it was because of UFOs. I've never heard that, sir.
Now, wait a minute. I didn't say that.
What did you say then?
I said that I found the UFO a useful mirror, as Perseus used a mirror to cope with what would have turned him otherwise to stone. A useful mirror to go to school day after day, to come back, to watch the woman whom I loved so much withering. That it was the UFOs that gave me the strength to do that. Or more, I'm using figurative language there. It was my belief in UFOs, my ufology.
But how can your belief in a UFO give you strength? Once again, you've got me baffled. And this is why so many people, the rest of the world, besides ufologists, cannot understand ufology, because at times, sir, it makes no sense, and this is one of those times.
Therefore, we have to ask what the person who does not understand is missing something.
I think the person who comes up with a hypothesis that they need to believe in UFOs to cope with common and realistic events, they're the people who have the issues, not the people who don't.
Oh, heck, I had issues. I had more issues than you'd want to name.
Yeah.
Most of them connected with growing up watching my mother die. But what I think, what I remember of my feeling and how I dealt with it remains solid. If someone says, I don't understand how you could have been a UFO believer, then what alternative answer will that person give? Yeah, that I was crazy, I was a kook, I was a weirdo, but I was inside myself. I know I was none of those things. I know that I was a human being struggling with an extremely difficult situation. And that is the situation that I depicted in Journal of a UFO Investigator.
All right, I understand, and my heart goes out with you because I, too, had the same situation with my grandmother. However, I felt not only did my religion help, but my family, the very close-knit family that I was part of and still am part of, the support group that we give each other, and we still give each other each and every day. For me to think that I would have to go and use ufology or Sasquatch or any of the fringe topics as a crutch or as the center of my belief to give me strength, that, sir, does not ring true with me.
For you, it does not.
But you
must take my word for it that for others such as myself, it did.
Then, sir, why did you become a professor or a teacher of religious studies? You know, belief in ufology is contrary to religious studies.
On the contrary, in my opinion,
okay.
Belief in UFOs is a religious belief. That the UFO lore is a religious myth and a UFO encounter, insofar as it's not just birds flying around a tower, is a genuine religious experience.
But how can you have such faith in something that you yourself have never witnessed?
I have faith in the faith. That is to say, I know from my experience that it was my belief in UFOs and my conviction that there was a mystery that I could solve that got me through.
Was there something in your youth, sir, that tainted you against organized religion?
It's a very good question, and I will try to answer it as honestly as I can.
Okay.
My religion was Judaism. Now, there was something indeed that tainted me against it, that being that it set me apart and made me alien. That was not the fault of the religion. I don't think it was, we cannot say it was the fault of anybody.
Right.
But I was set apart, or felt myself set apart, in the most practical way. The girls who were the nicest girls in my school, I couldn't go out with.
Why?
Because they weren't Jewish. My mother, who was dying, wouldn't approve, and besides which, she needed me to stay with her.
Can I ask you, can I just make an observation? I
Yes.
would say that your dad was not in the picture and you're an only child.
I am an only child. My dad was in the picture, but he himself was, I would say, blindsided by the coming of death. He was unable to give me the support I needed. I had to find it the way I could.
How about
and when I took Gray Barkers, they knew too much about flying saucers out of the library, and read it. I had almost a religious revelatory experience.
Why?
First, as I've said, wanting to hide under the bed, it was so frightening. But then with a sense of power, that here was an enigma, which could be solved, and a bright boy like me surely could solve it.
And have you solved it?
I think so.
I've been doing this show a number of years, sir. My training as a police officer kicks in each and every night. That's why I was able just to tell from the way you were talking that, number one, you're an only child. Number two, that your father wasn't in the picture as a father should have been to give you that support. I can see a lonely child who at the time needed something to cling on to try and help understand the heartbreak that he was going through at the knowing that his mom was facing her final curtain call. I can hear the hurt in your voice even today. And I can hear the desire from you for me to understand why you held on to ufology as part of the grieving process. I can tell it was very hard for you.
I'm not wearing a hat now, but if I were, I would take it off to you.
Stand by.
I was wondering how you knew I was an only child.
Stand by, David. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exonation, our guest this hour is David Halperin, and he's the author of Journal of a UFO Investigator. We'll both be back on the other side as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Path Home Shamanic Art School has just launched a new online series of classes, Galactic Shamanism, Art of the Ancients, Key to Tomorrow. In these classes, composed and taught by Path Home founder and director Gwilda Wiyaka, you'll learn practical shamanic skills to support your daily life, such as how to build a medicine wheel to access the power of the earth, perform a shamanic journey, create sacred space in which to live and work, empower your life with totem animals, elementals, and fairy folk, and learn the art of accurately reading signs and omens. These tried and true skills are the key to living a powerful, productive life. Visit us at findyourpathhome.com to see the ever-growing collection of classes and leading-edge information to support you during these times of uncertainty and transition. All can be found at findyourpathhome.com.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, The 70-Year Cover-Up Exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net. Exonation, my guest this hour is David Halperin. He is the author of Journal of UFO Investigator. His website is, you got the pencil and paper ready there, my friends? Okay, www.davidhalperin.net. David, why do you have such an animosity against Tyson?
Why do I have...
Neil deGrasse.
Yeah, why do I have such animosity?
Yes.
Because he seems to me a bully.
Okay. He's very well respected within the scientific community. He's a respected broadcaster. Isn't he the curator of the planetarium?
He may be,
yeah.
But when I have seen him discussing UFOs, it seemed to me he spoke against them as a bully.
But isn't that his right, just as it is your right to write your book and to try and get your feelings across to the readers that you know, your way of looking at it, your feelings? Doesn't he have the same right?
He has an absolute right.
You know,
I would never dream of suggesting he be imprisoned for that.
I understand that, sir. And if it upsets you so, you don't have to watch him on TV. It's as simple as that. Just like many times people call me up or they'll send me letters that are not anything but polite, and I'll say, fine, you don't have to listen to me. It's that simple.
That is true, except that I think that the vehement, and I will use that word instead of violent, which you were properly objected to, the vehement opposition to UFOs is a sign of emotional engagement with UFOs.
Well, I think that...
And I need to understand that. That is what I study.
Okay, it's very simple. The world of ufology is filled with charlatans, liars, and people who are out there to make a quick buck. The world of ufology is based on a conspiracy theory, and it's the world of ufology that maintains that conspiracy, because as long as the conspiracy is in place, ufologists do not have to provide any evidence to substantiate their claims. It's very simple.
Rob, I think you do an injustice to the world of ufology. When I was 15, I corresponded with a 16-year-old boy named Jerome Clark.
I know Jerome.
Have you had him on the show by any chance?
I certainly haven't. I know him.
To me, he's one of the finest and one of the most profoundly intellectual people.
He is an excellent chronicler.
I'm sorry?
He is an excellent chronicler.
Oh, I think he's much more. He's much more. And this is in spite of the fact that he and I disagree about the reality of UFOs.
Yeah.
I have the highest respect for him, and I think he represents, and there are many others like him, who represent an honest and profound engagement with the issues raised by UFOs. I don't think you can write off ufology as charlatanry.
Well, the majority are. And I have proven it time and time and time again. We have caught people lying. We do background checks on guests. And what pops up in their background checks at times is enough to curl the hair on a nun's head. There is a lot. Listen, the people out there want to believe. Organized religion, for the most part, does not satisfy the thirst that is being sought by today's public. Theology stopped, but society has progressed. The same stories that you found in the Bible hundreds of years ago are the same stories. Nothing changes. And people get tired of that. People want to go with the times. And this is what's happening in ufology. You have the same people talking the same stories without any proof. In fact, when it comes to the Roswell crash, more and more proponents who would have done anything to try and prove to you that Roswell is real now are saying, you know what? We made a mistake. The research was flawed.
Surely points to their intellectual honesty, no?
No, it shows... No, what happens is if you can't sell a book one way, if you can't get the speaking engagements one way, if you can't get the television series one way, you go out and get them another way. So if you're not a believer and that's not getting you the gigs, you turn into a believer. That gets you the gigs. It's a game. I've seen this over the years. Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing. There is no smoking gun that UFOs are real. And the best example I can give anyone is that with today's technology, we know that China, Russia, the United States, and every other country on this planet hacks other countries' computers. We know this. If anybody wanted to bring down any government of the world, all they would have to do is hack into the computers, find the proof that UFOs are real and there has been a cover-up, and that government would fall in no time flat. It hasn't happened.
And you understand I agree with you absolutely on that.
You know, it hasn't happened. So where's the evidence? There is none.
Okay, I think that may be a bit, that may overstate it. Okay, and I'm saying this as someone who does not believe that UFOs exist as something out there. You understand that?
So you don't you don't believe that UFOs are real?
I do not believe they are physically real. I believe they are psychically real. And we could talk more about what distinction I make. But do you understand clearly that I no longer believe, as I did when I was a teenager, in their physical reality?
All right. This is the first I've heard about it, so now you're telling me that they're not physical. So would you say they're in the realm of a multidimensional or a vibrational?
No,
or
nothing like that. I am a Jungian.
Okay.
Okay, and I believe this is why I use myth to speak of something that's true rather than false. That to Jung, whom I follow in this respect, myth is a kind of collective dream of our species that comes bearing awarenesses we would not have otherwise. That is why I could speak of Perseus and Medusa as though it were Holy Writ. It is myth.
All right, once again, you've got me lost. I thought I was I thought I was starting to understand, and now I'm baffled again.
Okay, can we take two premises?
All right, we've got about 2 minutes, by the way.
Number one, UFOs are a myth. Number two, myths are real.
So would you say that Santa Claus is a myth, and therefore Santa Claus is real?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Easter Bunny is a myth, but the Easter Bunny is real. Leprechauns are a myth, but because you believe, it's a matter of belief?
Because you believe, because they come communicating something to you that would otherwise be unavailable to you. No, the Santa Claus does not ride around in a sleigh giving out toys to the good girls and boys in the world. And yet, the belief in Santa Claus clearly has a resonance for us that continues even though we all know there is no Santa Claus.
Okay. So the fact that UFOs are a myth resonate with us even though UFOs are not real.
Yeah.
But it doesn't resonate with me. Why doesn't it resonate with me?
I don't know.
You see, I do this show for one reason, one very selfish reason. I want to believe.
Why?
Because I'm a cop.
Why do you want to believe?
Because every question needs an answer. And the only answer that I can see so far is that it does not exist.
And yet you keep looking.
That's right.
You remind me a little bit of Houdini. That Houdini went around exposing all the fraud, the mediumistic fraud, because he wanted to find the real one.
That's right.
And it broke his heart that he could never find a real medium.
That's because he never came to me, because I'm not only a medium, I am an extra large. I want to thank you so much for joining us, David. We have to say so long for now. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to get more information about our guest this hour, David Halperin, and if you can figure out what the hell this is all about, send me an email, exxon@exxonradiotv.com. Man alive, this guy had me around the bend a few times. Just when you thought I would get to understand what he was talking about, no, that's not what it was. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.